Oh, I might hang up on him.
Your Honor, if you do, you can call me right back. I'm right here.
Okay, I'm gonna disconnect Osceola, and if I disconnect you, I will call you back.
Yes, Your Honor, no worries.
Thank you. Oh, I gotta do that again?
Good morning once again, Your Honor. This is Rafael Barrera, State Certified Court Interpreter, previously sworn.
Thank you. Good morning, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Are we using headphones? There we go. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Alberto Cruz Robles, mes 6, día 10 del 91.
Alberto Cruz Robles, month 6, day 10 of 91.
Thank you. Appearance for defense.
Mary Ibrahim on behalf of the Public Defender's Office.
I do see that he completed an application. He does qualify, so you're officially appointed to represent him.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Sir, you've been picked up for 3 charges. Mr. Barrera, oh, you know what? I'm expecting to hear you, and you've got headphones. I apologize.
No worries, Your Honor. Not a problem.
Those 3 charges are burglary of a dwelling, criminal mischief, and battery with a prior battery, domestic violence. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. Counsel, do you wish to be heard?
Your Honor, we would just be asking for bond on this case.
Thank you. Bond to be set on count 1 in the amount of $1,500. Count 2, the amount of $1,000. Count 3, the amount of $1,000. You're not to return to 5024 Althura Way, that's Aleuthra. Not to have any contact with Daniel Gonzalez. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Do you understand, sir? I need a verbal response.
Entiendo.
I understand.
Additionally, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs.
Entendido.
Your Honor,
Understood.
I don't recall seeing any drugs or alcohol being an issue in this case.
The bottle of liquor,
Maybe because we didn't-
which means that there was some sort of alcohol, whether it was consumed or not, was involved in some of my ruling stands.
Also, defense would just be asking if he can have a one-time assist with a law enforcement officer to be able to pick up belongings further.
Sir, do you live at this address?
Yo solía vivir ahí y el acusado, o sea, el defendente, tiene una pertenencia mía todavía.
I live there, and the accused or the defendant has some of my belongings there still.
You can go back one time with the assistance of law enforcement to obtain your personal items only. Do not show up without the assistance of law enforcement. Anything further in this matter, counsel?
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, would you happen to have a case number for this defendant?
Twenty-one CF 9830.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The next one is Ronald Garcia Diaz. That's 21 MM 5863.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You don't need the interpreter? Mr. Barrera, would you mind standing by one moment, please?
Certainly, Your Honor.
No, I'll just take care of him real quick. State your name and date of birth, please.
Ronald Garcia, October 30, 2002.
Thank you. Pretrial release, can you tell me, does he qualify for direct release?
He qualifies for direct pretrial, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of battery, dating violence, as well as criminal mischief. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Public defender application is completed. They will be appointed to represent you in this matter. Counsel, do you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense will just be asking for a bond in the amount of $500.
Really? Because he qualifies for straight pretrial release.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, if you want me to give a
No,
bond.
no, straight pretrial release works, thank you.
Sir, since you qualify for straight pretrial release, the court will go ahead and grant that. You are not to have any contact with Paulo Ramirez. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Do you understand? Thank you. Also want random urinalysis conducted. You need to make sure that you report for your pretrial release. We'll report if we test positive. All right, Mr. Barrera, I think we're back on you. I'll confirm that in just a moment.
Your Honor,
Nick?
I just wanted to verify if he lived at that address, if he did a one-time assist. Sorry.
Ma'am, do you need the interpreter? Okay. You give us just a second. We got to keep them separated. Mhm. You did not miss it. All right, officer, whenever you're ready, she can come up for the headset. Mr. Barrera, it's 21MM 5852.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, ma'am. State your name and date of birth.
Paula Perilla, 31 de octubre del 2002.
Paula Perilla, 31st of October, 2002.
Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of battery, dating violence. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. You find that there's sufficient probable cause. Not see a public defender application for her, so you're only provisionally appointed in this case for purposes of IAs. Pretrial release, is it straight PTR?
He qualifies for direct pretrial, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ma'am, you qualify for direct pretrial release. The court will grant that, which means that you will not have to pay a bond to be released from jail. You are, however, going to have some conditions associated with that release. One of those conditions is that you are not to return to the scene. You're also not to have any contact with Ronald Garcia Diaz. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Do you understand?
Sí, señor.
Yes, ma'am.
Additionally, you are to maintain separate residences. If you have personal items at his place, you can go back one time with the assistance of law enforcement to obtain those items, but it's only your personal items. Do you understand?
Ok, entiendo.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you.
Ok. Thank you. Oh,
And then, Mr. Barrera, I believe the last one is 21 CT 5818, Juan Jose Garamo. He bonded? All right. Then I think that's it, Mr. Barrera. Thank you.
You're welcome, Your Honor. Have a good weekend.
You too. And we need the services for the witness who is here today,
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready to help.
Alfredo Cosme Bonet. You step up to the microphone.
Acérquese al micrófono.
State your name and date of birth, please.
Declare su nombre y su fecha de nacimiento, por favor.
05/29/2001.
Oh, he speaks English, ma'am.
Well, so that's the defendant. It's the witness that we need your services for.
I see.
Okay, thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of violation of domestic violence injunction. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Ma'am, can you state your name, please?
Señora, declare su nombre, por favor.
No, put it back on. There we go.
Yailis Enid Torres Colón.
Yailis Enid Torres Colón.
And Ms. Torres, as the victim in this case, you have the opportunity to tell the court what you would like to see with regard to release restrictions.
Como víctima de este caso, usted, señora Torres, tiene la oportunidad de decirle a la Corte qué es lo que querría ver usted que pase en relación a la liberación o restricciones.
This is not a time to talk about a case or any facts associated with the case.
Ahorita no vamos a hablar del caso en sí, ni nada conectado al caso.
With that in mind, what would you like the court to know?
Teniendo eso en mente, ¿qué le gustaría que supiera la Corte?
Pues yo sí puse una moción de non-hostile environment.
I put in a motion of no hostile environment.
All right, well, ma'am, at this point, the injunction is still active, and as long as the injunction is still active, he is not allowed to have any contact with you.
Bueno, ahorita la injunción todavía sigue activa y no se le puede acercar a usted.
Oh, eso no me lo habían dicho, pero ok.
I wasn't told that, but okay.
All right, so unless the injunction is completely dismissed or that court enters a no hostile contact order, he cannot have any contact with you.
A menos que se levante ese mandato, entonces él no puede tener, a menos que se emita otra orden, él no puede tener ningún contacto con usted.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Cosme, as I just stated to her, as long as there is an injunction in place, you're not allowed to have any contact. Even if she calls you, you can't have any contact as long as that injunction is in place. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You do qualify for pretrial release. Given the circumstances, the court will go ahead and grant straight pretrial release. You are to abide by all terms of the injunction unless and until it has been modified, okay?
All right.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Gracias, señora.
Gracias.
Thank you.
I think that's the only case we have for you. Thank you so much for your services.
Thank you for using our services, ma'am. You have a nice day. Goodbye.
And Your Honor, just for clarification, so if the injunction is lifted, we still need to do a motion in our court. Thank you.
And you were appointed in that case.
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm going to have to train myself on that right now. All right, next one is Michael Chalmers. PD is appointed. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Michael Rosario Chalmers, 52780.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of attempted burglary of occupied dwelling as well as stalking domestic violence. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. You are not to return to 1435 Mercy Drive. You're not to have any contact with the victim. Bond will be on count 1 in the amount of $1,000. Count 2, the amount of $1,000. And PC is pursuant to the warrant that was issued.
Is there any kind of way I can get it where I can get a no contact order from her against me too?
Your Honor.
I don't want no contact with her, period.
Your Honor.
Then don't have any.
I know what I'm saying is, ma'am, this right here, I was at work. And I understand.
What did I tell you? We don't talk about the facts of the case here today.
Okay.
He also has another case and he has an open case.
Yeah, Your Honor,
I'm not
I
going
just
to take
wanted
any
to,
action on the open case.
I just wanted to verify in the last two charges, the attempted and the second stalking charge.
Oh, sorry. But this is the one I did. What's the other one? also have burglary of a dwelling and the stalking. The stalking is where the no contact came from. Correct. Burglary of the dwelling will be $2,000. The stalking is set at $1,000. No contacted, no return.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Elizabeth Hooven? Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
Sure. Elizabeth Hooven, or Elizabeth Ann Hooven, 11/1974.
Thank you. PD is appointed. Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of battery on a person 65 years of age or older. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there is sufficient factual basis and probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $1,000. You're not to have any contact with Mary Savek. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You're not to return to 4528 Summer Grove Avenue. You can go back one time with the assistance of law enforcement to obtain your personal items. And you're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs.
And Your Honor, my client did ask if she could have a no hostile contact in this case, as it is her mother and they reside together.
No.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mhm. Jacqueline Padilla? That's the next one I have on my list, no? Jacqueline Padilla? Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Padilla, and I was born on December 12, 2000.
Thank you. Ms. Padilla, you do not qualify for the Public Defender Services, so you'll be proceeding on your own today. If you wish to hire the services of an attorney, you'll have to do that at a later time, okay? All right, you've been picked up as a result of aggravated battery with a weapon in a domestic violence situation. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. State your name, please, sir.
Tyler Michael Bohinski.
You can leave that mask on. As long as you talk into the microphone, we can hear you just fine, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, as the victim in this case, you have the ability to tell the court what it is you would like to see with regard to release restrictions. It is not a time to tell me about the case, what happened, or the facts of the case. It's only pertaining to release. And I will then make my determination based on the information that I have about how I will move forward. With that in mind, what would you like the court to know?
I wouldn't like to proceed with any of the charges. I just wanted her to change.
All right. If you don't want to pursue the charges, you'll need to contact the state attorney's office. It's ultimately up to them on whether they pursue the charges or not, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ma'am, it appears that you qualify for pretrial release. I will be granting pretrial release, but with a bond of $1,500. You are not to return to 8939 Lautrec Avenue. You're to have no contact with Tyler Bohinski. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir. You're good to go. Thank you. Joshua Torres? Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
I'm sorry?
State your name and date of birth, please.
Joshua Torres, August 5th, 1997.
Thank you. PD is appointed. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of false imprisonment associated with domestic violence as well as battery domestic violence. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there is sufficient probable cause. It appears that you qualify for pretrial release. The court will grant the pretrial release. You are to have no contact with Karen Garcia. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Do you understand?
I understand.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Yes, I understand.
You're also not to return to 1101 West South Street.
Your Honor, the alleged victim in this case doesn't reside in that house. It actually is his house. And I believe she's already gone. She's
What
already been.
documentation do I have of that? Unless and until something's filed with the court, he cannot go back there.
Okay, the other concern, Your Honor, is there is a child that they share mutually together. We would just be asking that if a third party talks to our office, that it wouldn't violate him if he saw his child.
No, there'll be
Understood.
no contact for now.
Thank you, Your Honor. I apologize. Was there a one-time assist?
Yes, he can go back one time with the assistance of law enforcement to obtain his personal items only.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Contact here.
Kevin Bivens? Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Kevin Bivens, 83178.
Thank you, sir. Public defender is appointed. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of domestic violence battery. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there is sufficient probable cause. Good afternoon. Can you state your name, please?
Anthony Bivens.
And Mr. Bivens, as the victim in this case, you have the opportunity to tell the court what it is you would like to see with regard to release restrictions. It is not a time to talk about what happened or the facts of the case, but only with regard to what I may or may not be ordering for his release. With that in mind, what would you like me to consider, sir?
Release.
Okay. I'm not inclined to let him come back to your house.
Can I make a statement?
Yes, sir?
First, I'd like to apologize to you and apologize to the court system because apologize to my wife and apologize to my son because it wasn't their fault, it was my fault. I was watching television and Kevin was prepared.
Objection.
No, don't talk about the facts of the case, okay? And the reason for that is because he has an attorney, and that is going to be at a later date. Today is just to determine whether there was probable cause for this charge.
No.
Well, there was. I've already deemed that there was probable cause.
Actually,
There could be a defense later on, but for today's purposes, I'm finding there's probable cause that this crime took place.
but it's not.
Well,
What I was going to say was
Mr.
that
Bivens, I understand, but I've already made my ruling on that. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you want him to come home?
yes,
Thank you. You're very fortunate that your father wants you to come home because I was not going to let you do so. So if you get aggravated with something he tells you to do when it's his house, you just need to leave. There will be no hostile contact. It'll be straight pretrial release. He'll be coming home, but if there's any arguments, he'll be the one going back to jail. Okay?
okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Sherrod Bryant. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Sherrod Bryant,
Date of birth?
January 13, 1984.
Thank you. PD is appointed. Mr. Bryant, you've been picked up as a result of battery, dating, violence. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. It appears that you qualify for pretrial release. Court will grant the pretrial release with the following restrictions. You're not to have any contact with Marisha Jackson. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
You're also not to return to 6960 River Oaks. You can go back one time with the assistance of law enforcement to obtain your personal items, okay? All right, thank you, sir. Oh, there she is. I know it just didn't match it up. Desiree Chiquines? Am I saying that correctly?
Your Honor, that was mental health.
I'm sorry?
Mental health. Oh, he's a mental health client, so I don't think they brought him down.
Counsel, she wasn't available to complete a public defender application. I can either provisionally appoint you and you can waive her appearance, or I can reset it.
I'm just gonna ask to reset it for tomorrow because I'm here tomorrow, so maybe I can address that tomorrow.
We'll reset it for tomorrow, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so who do we have there? Because the next one I have is Michael Ford.
His behavior.
Oh, his behavior.
I'm gonna reset him as well.
Reset that one for tomorrow, too.
Yes, Your Honor, please.
Is this Miss Francis? Okay. I figure if I keep trying, I'll get to the right person. Public defender is appointed. Ma'am, state your name and date of birth, please.
Derica Francis, 8/15/1967.
Thank you. Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of domestic violence battery. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Sir, state your name, please.
My name is Balaji.
All right. And sir, as the victim in this case, you have the opportunity to tell the court what it is you would like to see with regard to release restrictions. It is not a time to talk about the case or about what happened, only with regard to release restrictions. And understand that even though you may request something, I may or may not order that, okay?
Okay.
All right. With that in mind, what would you like me to know?
I just want her to be released, and that's all. Nothing much.
All right, ma'am, you do qualify for pretrial release. The court will grant that. However, there will not be any contact between the two of you. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact.
Oh, sorry, ma'am. Okay.
I already heard you.
All right.
I'm now making my ruling,
Okay, ma'am.
okay?
I
There's to be no contact.
because we stay together, that's why.
That's my court order. There's no contact. Ma'am, do you understand, since you're the one that would suffer repercussions?
Yes.
You also are to maintain separate residences. If you have items at that location, you can go back one time with the assistance of law enforcement to obtain your personal items, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can have a moment, Your Honor. Your Honor, if, I know you made your ruling, and defense will just ask if we could inquire as they are husband and wife.
I've made my ruling. If a
Understood.
motion needs to be filed, it can be filed in full evidentiary hearing can be held.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Loretta Gillo, or is it Gillette?
Well, actually, it's Gilo.
Oh, okay, I was completely wrong then. Good afternoon, state your name and date of birth, please.
My name is Loretta Gilo, and my date of birth is 5/20/1967.
Thank you. Public defender is appointed.
Yes.
Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of battery, touch, or strike. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Ma'am, state your name, please.
It's Kristen Gilo.
And ma'am, much like I told the last gentleman, this is your opportunity to tell the court what you would like to see with regard to release restrictions. It is not a time to talk about what happened or what did not happen or any facts associated with it. It's just with regard to release restrictions. With that in mind, what would you like the court to know?
I don't want any restrictions. I'm still wanting contact. I will leave the household. I don't want to press any charges or nothing.
If you don't want to press charges, you'll need to contact the state attorney's office, because once it gets to this point, it's up to the state attorney to decide whether they pursue it or not, okay? All right, ma'am, you do qualify for straight pretrial release. The court will go ahead and grant that. There will not be any hostile contact with Kristen. Given the circumstances, I kind of understand what happened a little bit, but there's not to be any future events like that. So if you feel that you're getting aggravated with her, remove yourself from the situation entirely, okay?
So we could still live in the same household, just no, okay.
You can.
Okay.
And hopefully the two of you don't argue anymore. Remind me to tell you later my thought on it. Are you Stephanie Johnson? Stephanie. You know. State your name and date of birth, please.
Stephanie Johnson, December 20th, 1993.
Thank you. PD is appointed. Ma'am, you're here this afternoon for battery dating violence. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. You do not qualify for pretrial release. Bond will be set in the amount of $1,000. You're not to have any contact with James Marichaux. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Do you understand?
She's just inquiring on the one-time assist, Your Honor.
I just haven't gotten there yet. In my reading of the affidavit, is she doesn't actually live there. She had some items there that he was trying to give back to her at the time this happened, but it appears that she did not get those back. You're not to return to 5384 Lake Margaret Drive. You can go back one time with the assistance of law enforcement to obtain your personal items, okay? All right, thank you.
I think they.
Law enforcement. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Perry? Is that not Mr. Perry?
No, Your Honor, this is Archer.
What happened to Ben Perry? Oh, he's mental health.
I'll
too.
reset him for tomorrow.
Reset for tomorrow?
Yes, Your Honor.
That was a fun big name on that one, though. Did you see it? Yeah. J-Lo. Anthony Archer?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Anthony Andrew Archer, August 5th, 1988.
Mr. Archer, I do not see that I have a public defender application for you. Did you not complete one?
No, ma'am. I do have a lawyer. I just got to get in contact with her.
Okay, so you're going to have your own lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
I mean, if y'all want to, if you could assign a public defender for the meantime until I get.
I need an application from you.
Well, I call my lawyer. It's okay.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, but you.
I mean, if you can afford an attorney, I can't appoint the public defender to represent you.
Yeah, I was gonna call my lawyer as soon as I got the chance that the phone wasn't working for me.
All right, let's go ahead and cover this unless you want me to reset it for when your lawyer's available.
No, we can cover it.
All right. No PD. All right, sir, you've been picked up as a result of possession of cocaine with the intent to sell, deliver with a firearm, possession of cannabis with intent to sell, deliver with a weapon, possession of cannabis under 20 grams, possession of firearm, commission of a felony, possession of, I always have a hard time with that. Oh, alprazolam, there we go. I always have a hard time saying it, isn't that ridiculous? With intent to sell, possession of controlled substance, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of hashish with intent to sell and deliver. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Bond on count one will be set in the amount of $10,000. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, $100,000. There was a firearm with it. Count two, $50,000. Count three, $150. Count four, $150. Count five, $150. Count six, $150. Count seven, $100. Count eight, $150. You're not to possess any alcohol or drugs.
I apologize, Your Honor. Count two was 50,000?
Count two, 50,000, yes.
Your Honor, would the court entertain a bond reduction on counts one and two?
Not at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. You want? Your Honor, what was the bond amount as to count three?
I believe it was $150. It's what was on the charging affidavit.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Only one and two were changed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this Joshua or are you Antonio? Antonio? Do we know what happened with Joshua? Did he bond out?
You have a jail number?
I don't have Joshua.
Joshua Abel Evelent?
It's 210-196-95.
Yeah, you're.
He bonded.
Okay. First, state your name and date of birth, please.
Antonio Brown, 11/21/2000.
Thank you. Public defender is appointed. Sir, you've been picked up with regard to a sexual battery with deadly weapon.
Your Honor, this is a shutdown.
I'm sorry?
This is, we're just waiving the readings.
Oh, I guess I didn't hear you say that.
They told me I didn't need to in orange, but I'll do that from now on.
If you don't tell me you're waiving, it's coming out.
Thank you.
Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $10,000. You're not to return to the Quality Inn, and you're not to have any contact with the victim. With regard to the two charges that you are out on ROR for, the court will be revoking and setting those at 0.
You said that's for both cases, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
I can go this way. Good, how are you? Mr. Brown?
Is this Mr. Brown? Sir, state your name and date of birth, please.
Freddie Donnell Brown.
Public defender is appointed. Sir, you've been picked up with regards to driving while license revoked as a habitual traffic offender. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find that there's sufficient probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $2,500. With regard to 21 CT 3065, that will be revoked and your bond will be set at $500.
I apologize, Your Honor. It was revoked and set.
At $500. Got to quit driving, Mr. Brown. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
William Delgado, 7/21/74.
Thank you. Sir, you do not qualify for the public defender.
I do not.
You do not qualify for the public defender.
Your Honor, is that due to financials or insufficient affidavit?
Financials,
Thank you.
based upon the income reported on the affidavit, he does not qualify.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sir, you will need to hire your own attorney since you do not qualify, but for today's purposes, you've been picked up for possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. It appears that you qualify for pretrial release. The court will grant the pretrial release. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs, and you're to report for random urinalysis of both alcohol and drugs, okay? Thank you. Well, this one bonded, I think. Are you Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
Can you come up to that microphone, please? That one bonded. At least that's what the thing on the back said.
What's the number?
Jermaine Demps. She's over there shaking her head. Yeah, he bonded. I just want to make sure we're not missing anybody. All right, sir, state your name and date of birth, please.
William Lewis Dotson, 6/17/68.
Thank you. Mr. Dodson, I do not see that you completed a public defender application. Do you intend on doing so?
Yeah, I had a public defender on this case, but he must not showed up today.
Well, you're going to be temporarily appointed for today.
Okay,
This is a warrant for failure to appear,
yeah.
so that they were showing up on your end? Okay, your office was actually appointed. The failure to appear is in 21 CF 2875, and the bond on that is $3,000. Thank you, sir.
He has two, Your Honor.
Oh, there's two?
Yes, ma'am.
Really?
I thought I only saw one.
He has the 2021 MO.
I only see one. Oh, what's his AKA? Oh, that's the next one. All right. All right, so there's a second case under an alias of William Lewis Johnson.
Yes.
You do have the public defender in that case as well. This is also for a warrant for failure to appear, and the bond on that one is $1,000.
Your Honor, would the court entertain a bond reduction, something more affordable, as my client can't afford that bond at this time?
Not today. File a motion, have an evidentiary hearing on it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are you Albert?
Yes, ma'am.
State your name and date of birth, please.
Albert Gilreath, 7/1/99.
Thank you. Public defender is appointed. Sir, you've been picked up with regard to resisting officer, fleeing, eluding with lights and siren activated. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Appears that you qualify for pretrial release. The court will grant that. Does anybody happen to know what's up with the two active warrants that were mentioned in the charging affidavit that initially started all this?
He doesn't have any holds at this time.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Thank you.
So
Good morning, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
Taidi Gonzalez.
Thank you. PD is appointed. Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of petty theft with 2 prior convictions. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $1,000, and you're not to return to the Walmart. Thank you. Are you Mr. Gordon?
Yes, ma'am.
State your name and date of birth, please.
Albert Gordon, 10/11/1989.
Thank you. Mr. Gordon, you do not qualify for the public defender based on your income.
I apologize, Your Honor. This is also, we'd be waiving the readings.
Sir, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find that there's sufficient probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $1,500, and you're not to have any contact with Austin Gordon. None.
Your Honor, you said public defenders appointed?
No, he didn't qualify based on income.
Thank you.
Are you Mr. Holmes?
Yes, ma'am.
State your name and date of birth, please.
Kevin Holmes, 1993.
What's
Me,
the month
Kevin.
and day?
Kevin Holmes, May 5th, 1993.
Thank you. Public defender is appointed. Mr. Holmes, you've been picked up as a result of grand theft, 3rd degree of motor vehicle. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $1,000. Am I reading this correctly? He's out on bond for the same charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
It'd be revoked and set at 0. Thank you, sir. Are you Mr. Howard? State your name and date of birth, please.
Bryce Howard, 7/12/1998.
Mr. Howard, you've been picked up as a result, oh, hold on before I get there. Public defender is appointed. You've been picked up as a result of grand theft, 3rd degree. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $500, and you are not to return to the target. Are you Mr. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
State your name and date of birth, please.
Shaquille Johnson, May 2nd, 1993.
Thank you, sir. Public defender is appointed. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of cannabis. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond on count 1 will be set in the amount of $1,000. Count 2, $100. Count 3, $100. Court will not be taking any action on 21 CF 8288. But with regard to 21 CF 8287, it'll be revoked and set at 0. Thank you, sir. Afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
Tina Meyer, 5/25/75.
Do we know if the PD is already on this case? Okay. Your office was previously appointed, counsel.
Our office is already appointed.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of a failure to appear in case number 2015 CF 15183. There's no bond on that.
Your Honor, if I may, there is a motion that was sent in, and there's documentation, I can email it, that she was in detox at the time that she was supposed to be at court, which she was supposed to be at the detox. So we'd just be asking if we could ROR her on that today.
They need to be heard by the trial judge.
Thank you, Your Honor. Who's your lawyer? I'll talk to Brooke.
Are you Mr. Moore?
Morning, y'all.
State your name and date of birth, please.
Johnny Bernard Moore III, 11/21/1978.
Thank you. You do not qualify for the public defender based upon the application you've completed. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of driving while license revoked. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there is sufficient probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $2,500. It appears you're also out on bond for 21 CT 1128 for the same charge. It'll be revoked and set at 0.
Your Honor, we would just be asking that the bond is not revoked. These are traffic charges. He's not a danger to society, and due to the increase in COVID right now, we would just be asking that his bond be stayed on his previous case.
They're the same exact charge that he keeps getting picked up on. That request will be denied.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Are you Mr. Morgan? Come up to the microphone, please. State your name and date of birth, please.
James Morgan, 3/28/2000.
Thank you. Public defender is appointed.
And Your Honor, I believe this is a warrant, but we'd be waiving.
It is a warrant. Matter of fact, it's a warrant I signed last night. Based upon the warrant, probable cause has been determined by yours truly. With regard to count 1, bond will be set in the amount of $10,000. Count 2, $2,500. Count 3, $1,000. Count 4, $1,000. You're to have no contact with the victim. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms.
Victim.
Yes, and co-defendant.
I will explain it. Your Honor, if I may just have the name of the victim.
Can I have that back? Well, let me go into the actual warrant that I signed. That's not you. Does that tell you what time that warrant was signed? It should on my signature. Sorry, I signed over 60 warrants yesterday.
That's okay.
I'm trying to find it.
Do you want me to have to read them out loud? I can. Okay. And Your Honor, I know I waived his charges, but client would like them read. I apologize. What is this? Oh, his service already.
I'm just trying to find it.
What number is he?
Ah, here he is. The problem is they never name these by the name of the defendant, but I've got it now. So, Mr. Morgan, what you were being charged with is attempted second-degree murder with firearm, shooting in an occupied vehicle, discharging a firearm in public, and possession of firearm by a convicted delinquent. The victim in this case is Johnny Johnson.
Johnny who?
Johnny Johnson.
Johnny Johnson.
Yes, sir.
No contact with Johnny Johnson.
That warrant was executed at 4:01 yesterday. Sir, state your name and date of birth, please.
Jeremiah Pagan, 9/14/80.
Thank you. Public defender is appointed. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of moving traffic violation, driving while license suspended with a revocation or equivalent status. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $2,500. No, ma'am. He's got to quit driving. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Name and date of birth.
Oh, Calvin Reese, 7/5/1981.
Your Honor, this is also waiving.
Public defender is appointed.
Thank you.
They're just failures to appear, counsel. I won't go into the details, but they're both failures to appear. One is for
Is there a bond?
5,000 and one is for 100.
1,100?
5,000 and 100 is what's on the warrants.
Would the court entertain,
No, ma'am. The 5,000 is on 20 CF 6081 for count 1 and 100 for count 2. The warrant. I hate it when it doesn't. Sir, state your name and date of birth, please.
Ladravius Thompson, 11/04/98.
Thank you. Public defender is appointed, or it looks like they were already appointed previously. Sir, you're before the court on a failure to appear in case number 21 CF 4183. The warrant is set at 0 bond. He does not? He does now. He completed the application.
Your Honor, would the court entertain a bond on this case?
No, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Jonathan Whitted, November 6, 1990.
And your name?
Jonathan Whitted.
Thank you, sir. Public defender is appointed. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of grand theft third degree. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. It appears that you qualify for pretrial release, so the court will grant that with a condition that you are not to return to the 7-Eleven. Okay?
It's all right if I talk.
Does the next gentleman already have the public defender? Okay. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Michael Chisholm, 9/18/81.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of 2 warrants for failure to appear in 2019 MM 5886. Both of those, well, I apologize. Yes, both of those are set at $1,000, and public defender was previously appointed.
Your Honor, I believe this case may have some mental health issues attached to it. Would we be able to request an ROR with mental health conditions?
The court will be denying that. I don't have any evidence before me at this time.
That's what it says on the bottom.
1,000 on each of them.
It says it on there.
I believe it was on the actual forms, the bond forms.
What?
That the mental health issues, I thought that was on the bond forms, that's where I got it from. You have them with you?
The warrant states the court has ordered bail to be and the same is hereby set at $2,000 in default of payment of said bail. The defendant is remanded to the custody of the sheriff until further order of said court.
No, I'm just asking why is that on my bond condition?
So there's no bond condition of mental health? He just needs to pay the bond and he'll be released?
Yes.
No,
So
but
it's
I mean,
removed.
like, when I was looking at, when, I had went to, the case search, when I looked at my warrant, my KPS warrant, and I looked at what, and I looked at the case and stuff, it said right next to my bond conditions, when I looked
Mental
at the
health
warrant, it said mental health ROR.
I don't have that information before me. I can only provide you what I have before me.
No, but I mean, you can type it in and look.
There's nothing that the judge.
Thank you, sir. All right, so you are definitely not Amber.
Ma'am.
No, I didn't think so.
I believe this is Lewis.
Do we know what
Anthony.
happened with 210-19636?
Amber Roach.
Amber Roach? Uh-huh. It appears so. Counsel PD was previously appointed.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
Amber Roach, July 17th, 84.
Ms. Roach, you've been picked up as a result of failure to appear in 2020 MM 3888. There is a $500 bond on that.
You can pay a $500 bond on that. Your Honor, since this is a misdemeanor case, would the court entertain an ROR on this?
No, here's the deal. Show up to court. If you show up to court, the judge doesn't issue a warrant, they don't set a bond, and then you don't have to go through this. All right, sir, go ahead and state your name and date of birth, please.
Anthony Joshua Arias, October 15, 1992.
Thank you, sir. Was PD previously appointed in this?
And Your Honor, I believe state has an announcement on this case.
State, do you have an announcement on this case?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the state would announce a null pros for the driving while license suspended or revoked.
Well, that kind of creates a conundrum.
Your Honor, the state checked and the defendant has a valid driver's license. I checked as of this morning. He does have a valid driver's license, so the state.
I understand what you're saying, but at this point, he's been picked up on a warrant.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to recall the warrant, even though it's not my warrant, which is not technically procedurally correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, sir. There's no case. She just dropped it. Absolutely, he needs to be released.
It's gonna be court order release?
Well,
Yeah, I'll mark the bottom.
technically, there's no case for me to have any jurisdiction. Sir, state your name and date of birth, please.
Daniel Green, August 16, 2000.
That's not you. He's two down. Do we know what happened to Cabrera?
You have a jail number 2101.
Two 1019688.
Bonded.
Okay. So that one bonded. And then what about 210-19700?
19700.
19700, yes.
What do you mean? Bonded.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Green, that brings us to you now. Public defender is appointed. Okay, great, okay. Alrighty then. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of no motor vehicle registration, attaching tag or license plate to an unassigned vehicle, and driving while license suspended, revoked. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond on count 1 will be set in the amount of $100. Count 2, the amount of $100. Count 3, the amount of $500. And the court will not take any action on the CF case. Yes, I'm sorry. State your name and date of birth, please.
Leon Brown, March 31st, 1989.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, I don't see that we have a public defender application for you. Were you going to hire your own attorney?
Your Honor, he was going to enter into a negotiated plea today.
I'm sorry?
He was going to enter into a negotiated plea today.
Okay. You already have a plea form?
Yes. He just needs to sign it.
Feels like it was a heavy day today.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Dr. Orange and Osceola. There's no terms.
Oh, I apologize. Your Honor, it's going to be a withhold court cost, no return on count one, a withhold court cost on count two.
Sir, raise your right hand to be sworn, please. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You can lower your hand. Mr. Brown, I'm holding a plea form in my hand which appears to have your signature on it. Do you recognize it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need any additional time to speak with the attorney before moving forward?
No, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you to accept this offer?
No, ma'am.
In this plea form, there's multiple paragraphs which set forth your constitutionally protected rights. Those rights include, but are not limited to, your right to a jury trial, your right to a speedy trial. Do you agree to waive those rights in exchange for the court accepting this plea today?
Yes, ma'am.
If you are not a United States citizen, do you understand that by entering into this plea, it would be grounds for deportation?
Ma'am.
Based upon the court's review of the charging affidavit, I find there's sufficient factual basis to move forward. Sir, I'm going to find that you are alert and intelligent, that you're entering into this plea freely and voluntarily, and the court will accept it. The terms of the plea as to count one is a withhold of adjudication, court costs in the amount of $268, and no return. With regard to count two, it's a withhold of adjudication and court costs of $268. Sir, when do you think you would be able to get the 536? Each charge is supposed to have their own. All right, well, apparently the clerk is saving you money, so you only have $268 that's owed. On a withhold, it's a $268. Withhold is $268. Something like in Osceola, it's $268. Okay. So it's $273. That's our adjudication rate. This is a straight one. Oh. Learn something new every day. When do you think you would be able to get the $273 paid by?
Next Friday.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to order you to pay it within 30 days. If you do not get it paid, the clerk will turn it over to collections and suspend your driver's license. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You have 30 days in which to appeal. If you need the services of an attorney, you can apply to the court. If you qualify, one will be appointed to you. Yeah. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor, may I approach the plea form? I have my name on it, but we weren't assigned. Thank you.
And Your Honor, the state didn't hear it. Did the defendant plead no contest or guilty?
No contest.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so thank you. Counsel, can you announce your name on the record again? Apparently, we missed that completely.
Yes, Mary Ibrahim on behalf of the defense.
Thank you. And state?
Olivia Rivers for the state of Florida.
Thank you. Sometimes we have to do what the court reporter asks us to do. State your name and date of birth, please.
Michael Chisholm, June 25th, 1992.
PD is appointed. Mr. Chisholm, you've been picked up as regard larceny, petty theft, second degree, first offense. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there is sufficient probable cause. You do not qualify for pretrial release, so a bond will be set. Bond set in the amount of $500, and you're not to return to the Dollar General, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Getting there.
Mr. Evans, did you decide?
one? Wait there.
Okay, okay.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Evans, Bird Evans. 219.
Thank you, sir. You've been picked up as a result of trespass on property after warning. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Public defender is appointed. You do not qualify for pretrial release. Bond to be set in the amount of $150, and you're not to return to 455 South Garland Avenue.
Your
Okay?
Honor, we would just be asking, for ROR in this case, it is a trespass case, it's a minor case, a nonviolent crime.
I already reduced the bonds. It was set at 500. I dropped it to 150.
Understood, Your Honor. Can I have a moment, please?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, is that Our Lady? Now they got ID? Oh, my gosh.
Give you the plea form. What'd you do with it?
Okay.
Here's a plea form for this case. Thank you. If I can just have one moment.
Yes, ma'am. Oh. Yes, that's just real quick. Mhm. You might want to wait before you start writing out. Oh, there we go.
Got it. Your Honor, was the Public Defender's Office appointed prior?
If he's moving forward with a plea, I won't appoint you.
Thank
so
you.
that he doesn't incur the $50 fee.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes, ma'am. Sir, raise your right hand to be sworn, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Thank you. Counsel, is it a withhold court costs and no return?
It's an adjudication. Can you do a withhold?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. It'd be adjudication, court costs, and then no return to the scene.
And you said it's just 273. Okay. Sir, I'm holding a plea form in my hand. Do you recognize it? This is the form you just signed. This is the form you just signed. Do you want to move forward with a plea today?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you recognize the form?
You have to say
Did
yes.
you read it?
Yeah.
Did you understand it? Do you need any time to speak with an attorney before moving forward? Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, not today.
Is anyone forcing you to accept the state's offer? Various paragraphs throughout this form advise you of your constitutionally protected rights. Those rights include, but are not limited to, your right to a jury trial, your right to a speedy trial, your right to an attorney. Do you agree to waive those rights in this case in exchange for the court accepting the plea today? I need to hear a yes, please. If you are not a United States citizen, do you understand that by entering into this plea, it would be grounds for deportation? I have to ask everybody, sir. All right, so the record will be noted that you are a citizen and that is not applicable. Based upon the court's review of the charging affidavit, I find there's sufficient factual basis to move forward. Sir, I'm going to find that you are alert and intelligent, that you're entering into this plea freely and voluntarily, and the court will accept it. The terms of the plea are an adjudication of guilt, no return to the Lynx bus station, it's 455 South Garland Avenue, and court costs in the amount of $273. Sir, how long do you want me to put for that to be paid?
Couple of months.
How about 90 days? All right, make sure you get that paid within 90 days, okay? You have 30 days in which to appeal. If you need the services of an attorney, you can apply to the court. If you qualify, one will be appointed to you. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. I'm sure I don't want to see what this is at this point.
Yes.
Oh, it's not bad. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jorge Luis Ortiz Torres.
Oh,
He's number 46, Your Honor.
hey, I get stacks. I don't get numbers. All right, we'll ask you about those two in a minute. All right, Mr. Torres, I don't see that I have a public defender application for you. Were you asking for the public defender to be appointed to represent you?
Yes, but I didn't really understand what he was telling me.
Okay. What I will do is I will temporarily appoint the public defender to represent you,
Okay.
and you'll need to complete an application for clerk review, okay?
Mhm.
All right. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of trespass on property after warning. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. You do not qualify for pretrial release. Bond to be set in the amount of $150, and you're not to return to 455 South Garland Avenue.
You want to do the bond for $150? You want to do the plea?
Your Honor, there was an offer conveyed, adjudication of guilt court costs, and I believe the form is in his hand, ready to go.
Sir, do you wish to move forward with a plea today?
Yes.
Okay.
Go home today, right? Joanna?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And there would also be a no return to scene on that
Yes,
too, Your
ma'am.
Honor.
May I approach with the plea form, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you say this is adjudication court cost no return?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sir, raise your right hand to be sworn, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You can lower your hand. Sir, I'm holding a plea form in my hand which appears to have your signature on it. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
Did you read it?
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
Do you need any time to speak with an attorney before moving forward?
No, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, Your Honor.
Is anyone forcing you to accept the state's offer?
No.
Various paragraphs within this form set forth your constitutionally protected rights, including but not limited to your right to a jury trial, your right to a speedy trial, your right to an attorney. Do you agree to waive those rights in this case in exchange for the court accepting the plea today?
Yes.
If you are not a United States citizen, do you understand that by entering into this plea, it would be grounds for deportation?
Yes.
Based upon the court's review of the charging affidavit, I find there's sufficient factual basis to move forward. Sir, I'm going to find that you are alert and intelligent, that you're entering into this plea freely and voluntarily, and the court will accept it. The terms of the plea are an adjudication of guilt, no return to 455 South Garland Avenue, and court costs the amount of $273. Sir, when do you think you would be able to get that paid by?
Maybe 6 months?
Well, how about 90?
Okay.
All right, make sure you get it paid within the 90 days. Do you have any questions?
No.
You have 30 days in which to appeal. If you need the services of an attorney, you can apply to the court. If you qualify, one will be appointed to you. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
So one of the ones we're looking for is 21019699.
Gonzalez,
Uh-huh.
bonded.
Bonded. And then the next one is 21019684.
He bonded as well.
Bonded.
Oh, he got lucky. Good afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please. Name and date of birth.
Tiffany Diaz, 112984.
What's your name?
Tiffany Diaz.
I can't hear her.
She said Tiffany Diaz.
Tiffany Diaz, thank you. I do not see that I have a public defender application. Oh, it's an out-of-county warrant, never mind. Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of an out-of-county warrant. It's from Osceola County on a violation of probation. There's no bond on that. They'll be notified that you're here. Thank you. You're free to go. Free to go back. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Charles Jackson, February 18th, 1988.
Can you tell me what happened to 21019690?
That's our medical, Your Honor.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sir, it looks like you've been picked up on a warrant out of Volusia County. There's no bond on that warrant, so they'll be notified that you're here.
You know, Your Honor, what's the extradition on this?
Yeah, I'm not going to take any action on those.
No action on both cases?
No action on both cases.
She's not gonna know that.
He's being picked up on a warrant, so.
I'll tell Barry to call you.
Are you Mr. Ruiz? Come up to the microphone, please. State your name and date of birth, please.
Tim Ruiz, 11/16/82.
Thank you. It's also an out-of-county warrant. So you've been picked up on a warrant out of Seminole County. There's a bond on that of $2,000. If you can bond out, you're welcome to. If not, then they'll be notified that you're here for pickup, okay? Thank you.
Your Honor, Sparks refused. Defense will waive his appearance.
Mr. Sparks?
Mhm.
All right, well, Mr. Sparks has 2 cases involving out-of-county warrants from Sarasota County. He refused. Both of them are set at 0.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm waiving it since he refused. Are you Mr. Marshall? Come up to the microphone, please. State your name and date of birth, please.
Travis Duntel Marshall, birthday 10/26/84.
Mr. Marshall, you've been picked up as a result of a violation of probation. There's 0 bond on that warrant, and public defender is appointed. Are you Mr. Muniz? State your name and date of birth, please.
16/1994.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of violation of probation. There's no bond on that.
Your Honor, if I may,
I'm sorry?
I believe my client's father's here, and he did drop off some documentation that whatever the alleged violation, I can't open it because it's locked, was in fact completed. At this point, can we just ask for a bond instead of?
He needs to go see his judge. I would suggest that perhaps you have the father update probation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And the public defender is appointed based on the application I have.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, he needs to we'll make a copy.
Let's see the judge.
He needs to go see it. Can you explain to him?
What's your name? Sir, what's your name?
D'Angelo Austin.
Austin, you've been picked up as a result of soliciting without a permit, which is a violation of a county ordinance. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. State, is there an offer in this matter?
No, Your Honor.
Are you sure?
Credit time served on the municipal ordinance?
Yeah,
Yes, Your Honor, that's fine.
okay.
Okay, I'll rewrite that. May I approach with the plea form, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am. Sir, raise your right hand to be sworn, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You can lower your hand. Counsel, is it adjudication credit time served or withhold credit time served?
I don't, Withhold is what defense would ask.
Withhold credit time served, Your Honor.
Sir, I'm holding a plea form in my hand which appears to have your signature on it. Do you recognize it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need any time to speak with an attorney before moving forward?
No, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you to accept the state's offer?
No, ma'am.
Okay, not quite so close. Multiple paragraphs within this plea form indicate your constitutionally protected rights. Those rights include but are not limited to your right to a jury trial, your right to a speedy trial, your right to an attorney. Do you agree to waive those rights in this case in exchange for the court accepting this plea?
Yes, ma'am.
If you are not a United States citizen, do you understand that by entering into this plea, it would be grounds for deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Based upon the court's review of the charging affidavit, I find there's sufficient factual basis to move forward. Sir, I'm going to find that you are alert and intelligent, that you're entering into this plea freely and voluntarily, and the court will accept it. The terms of the plea are withhold of adjudication, credit time served, and court costs of $273. Sir, when do you think you would be able to get that paid by?
Yes, ma'am.
No, by when?
90 days. You need like 3 months?
Yeah.
3 months?
90 days, Your Honor.
The court's going to require it be paid within 90 days. Make sure you get that paid within 90 days, because if you don't, the clerk's office will turn it over to collections and add suspension to any driving privileges, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
You have 30 days in which to appeal. If you need the services of an attorney, you can apply to the court. If you qualify, one will be appointed to you. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you.
And Your Honor, next would be Jacob Anderson. I'm just going to reset him for tomorrow, please.
Is that not him?
That's not him.
No, that's not him? Okay. Oh, I see now, yeah.
And then Mike Duprat is in the hospital.
Mike is in the hospital.
You guys usually tell her that, Mike?
Are you ready, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, you can come up to the microphone. State your name and date of birth, please.
Andy Duprat, 10/18/1997.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I do not have a public defender application for you. It appears that you were picked up on state misdemeanors, actually a city violation. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause. State, was there an offer in this matter?
There was, Your Honor, but defense would just be asking for ROR at this time. It is a city ordinance, and again, kind of due to the increase in COVID, I would just be asking to release him today so he can handle the case on the outside.
Well, he qualifies for pretrial release.
Okay.
And I intend on granting the pretrial release, but not because it's COVID. Anything further in that matter?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any conditions, Your Honor?
No. No PD. Oh, yeah, she wants me on the record for this one. 21 MM 5849, court notes that the defendant resides out of state. As part of her pretrial release, the court has no objection to her traveling outside of the state to her home state.
Thank you.
Is that the defendant from Maryland?
I'm sorry?
The defendant from Maryland?
And then other than fixing the Osceola order again? Is that it?
So she can go to Maryland still. Upon getting to Maryland, that was kind of my question in that case, is her and her husband live together in Maryland, so if the no contact order, which one has to leave? Oh, obviously she does. She would have to leave then the marital home with him?